Yo guys, Turbomex here, and welcome back to another New World video. Now, I have made a bow build for a lot of different weapons. You know, contrary to popular belief, people saying that I'm just spamming these builds out with no thought process, I've basically made this game my second life. So when I test things, I've been testing quite a bit of things, and I try to put as much effort as I can into these builds, but I don't want to sound repetitive. I've tested so many different things within the first few weeks of this game that I basically have the knowledge to carry over a new build. So we're trying something a little bit unique and off meta, and that is the Ice Gauntlet bow setup. I know, it's a little bit weird, but it works out very, very well if you know how to play it correctly. The most important thing is going to be armor. I don't want to keep telling people the same exact things in every video, but the most important perks you guys are looking for in armor is going to be health, enchanted ward, thrust conditioning, and then weapon specific perks in that order. But armor is subjective in this meta because based on your playstyle, you may not like thrust conditioning, you may just flat out want enchanted ward, and that is completely understandable. But I feel like health is almost a needed perk because it's just more survivability regardless of what you're doing, and it makes your other conditioning perks that much stronger because you have a larger health pool to actually work with. But to have this build at its max effectiveness, you need the attuned leather pants because that will allow you to get the 350, 150, 150 splits. I made a whole video on my channel talking about this split. The third perk is shirking energy, so when we avoid a hit, we gain 16 stamina, but you have no idea how many times this 16 stamina has saved my life, allowing me to dodge again or allowing me to actually not stam drain myself. I talk shit about shirking energy in the past, but it's really, really good, man. For the gems on the armor, we are all using thrust ward, but we're using the arboreal thrust ward, so all of our thrust ward gives us 2% more nature damage because, as always, we are running that nature split with the bow, and I want that to be as powerful as possible with the arboreal attunements, and we are using poison shot, so of course I want that to be as strong as it can be. But for the resistances, we do have 31 thrust, 12 fire, 12 nature, or 11 nature rather. You guys can move this around as you like. I actually rocked 20 thrust with 20 fire at one point, and honestly it worked very nice, but I feel like with fire stats right now, 20% and 10% don't feel any different. AGS has nerfed blunderbuss, AGS has nerfed bow. Where's the fire staff nerfs, man? Come on, I'm sick of 6,000 damage fireballs on like a 6-second cooldown. Please help. For the weapons, the Ice Gauntlet, surprisingly and more importantly, does not need to be great. You just need a singular perk. I don't care if this has the 2 worst perks in the game, but you need Healing Tomb. When Healing Tomb ends, it will actually regenerate 32% of your maximum base health. Now, this is base health. This is before any buff foods or all that, so it's not as much as you think, but a lot of people don't know. The way Entomb works, you don't get that health instantly. You can't just break it, then swap to your bow and expect the healing. The way that Healing Entomb works, and I'm going to explain this because not everybody knows, and I know there's a lot of bow players out there that have never touched Ice Gauntlet, don't know this. When you activate your Entomb, you will always get the healing. You could cancel it early, you can have it break, any of the above. It doesn't matter how your Entomb ends. If it ends, you're going to get healed. But the condition is you have to wait a few seconds. As you see right there, that 1525, it took, I think, 2 seconds on the dot for that to actually take place. That will, however, not work if you leave your Entomb and then swap to your bow immediately. You're not going to get that healing, so get in the habit of leaving your Entomb, waiting a second or two, or plan on being able to move around for a second or two, and then swap over to your bow and do other abilities. And then for our bow, of course, we got the Syncretic bow, the best in slot bow. If you do not know how to get this bow, please go onto my channel, Best in Slot Bow Farm, New World. It is the easiest bow to get. It's a little bit expensive with the 3 chromatic seals, but if you don't know about it by now, throw on attunement and you're good to go. It doesn't even need to be nature attunement. If you want a different elemental build, go for it. Just Syncretic bow is in a really, really great spot right now. The gems on the Void Gauntlet don't really matter. Syncretic bow, like I said, we're just converting it to nature. You don't need to do this. Play the bow how you want to play the bow. I don't want my build to be very confined in this fashion. If I do a themed build like a nature build, then I'll be more specific on what you guys should be running, but this build is very open to changes. It's very versatile WoW. You don't need to go farm this specific item in order to use it. If anything, the only needed item in this entire build is going to be the attuned leather pants, and that's not even 100% needed. That is just so you can get the 15% elemental damage benefit for the Void Gauntlet, so it actually feels a little bit more useful. Heartrune, we are actually using the Cunning Dark Ascent. A Dark Ascent got a 30% buff, I believe, and the 100% lifesteal and the amount of damage it does now is pretty competitive. It's not the best in the game. Detonate still definitely hits harder, and so does Cannon Blast, but flying up in the air, spamming it back down when people least expected with that stagger and the heal, and you heal on every target, so if there's 3 people on you and you do this, you're gonna get like a 9-10,000 heal, and it's honestly really, really good, and I love it. I'm a big fan of the Dark Ascent Heartrune right now, especially with bow players. For the amulet, we have Shirking Dot Cleanse, Health, and Thrust proc. That's just best in slot in my opinion, and Shirking Dot Cleanse, I've been getting a lot of questions on how to get Shirking Dot Cleanse. I'm pretty sure the craft mod is behind PvP track. That's what New World Database is saying for me right now, so if you need Shirking Dot Cleanse, unfortunately it's PvP track locked if database is correct, but it's definitely a best in slot perk in the current damage over time meta. For the ring, we have Bloodletting for longer bleeds, and that is mainly going to be with our Keenly Jagged. You don't need Bloodletting with this specific build. If anything, maybe you can go for something like longer poisoning duration if you're going to be using poison shots. It's just jewelry is really expensive, and I'm not going to farm all that to make a 30% change, but that's completely up to you. I would highly recommend it. It's hardy for the second dodge and thrust damage for more damage overall with the bow, because the main damage on this build is going to be the bow, but you have that Ice Gauntlet there to help you with utility and crowd control, and it's very, very nice to add sustain on top of bow. Then finally, the earring, we have Purifying Toast to lose a debuff when we drink a regen potion, Nimble, just so we're a little bit more annoying, and potion cooldowns is faster, which is really, really good. Over to the attributes, like I said, we have 351 dex, 150 ints, and right now I only have a 40 con food. When I eat a 48 con food, I will be at 150 con. Of course, the other stats could matter. It's all up to you. I just think dex ints right now with this type of build, or if you're just using conversion gems on your bow in general, is really, really good, and it's not really beaten by anything. You could drop to 300 dex and then go 200 ints if you want to use the Ice Gauntlet a little bit more. For the skill trees, this is my poison shot tree. I opted for no contained detonation on the boom boom arrow because we are running the empowering explosive arrow on our armor, so when we hit anything with that empowering, we get that 21% empower, and that will carry over to our pen shot. So pen shot has 150% base on top of the 15 more if they're 20 meters away, which is basically all the time with bow, so it's actually 165% damage, and getting the larger AoE without getting the bottom of boom boom arrow allows you to proc that empowering a lot easier because you have a bigger AoE with a higher chance of hitting people. So that pen shot is having a insane amount of damage, especially with long range, which is another 10% on top of the 165 for 175% damage, and that's before even talking about any sort of 15% in power from Evasive Tactics or the 21% in power from Boom Arrow. And here is the entire skill tree, so you guys can take a screenshot of that. And then finally, the Ice Gauntlets. Very, very simple. We have the Ice Storm, just because it's nice AoE crowd control. I did try this build previously with Pylon and did not like it. It was too much animation locking, wasn't worth the damage. So we have the AoE CC with Ice Storm. We get that bonus damage to shield targets, so when you actually use Ice Storm, if they're rooted, it actually does a little bit more. Ice Shower is going to be amazing because you could actually quadruple haste yourself, which is kind of funny, and you could root people and give them a rend, which helps out a lot with your bow damage. And finally, the star of the show, Entombed. You lose all your debuffs, any bleed stacks, any boom boom arrow burns, anything just completely gone, and then you gain health from our perk, which is honestly insane. And if you don't know how to do the quad haste with the Ice Shower, all you have to do is pop Ice Shower, switch to your bow, and then dodge. And yeah, there's a split second of quad haste, but it's mainly triple haste, but it is definitely really, really fast if you want to play more offensive or defensive, because if you put down Ice Shower, people can't run through it, so you could gain some distance and haste yourself, which is really nice. But that's really it, guys. I wanted to try out a off-meta build, something a little bit more fun and a little bit different. I think I will be going over my personal best in slot build, the It's Termex build that I am using personally, in another video. I just want to make sure it's all the way to my liking. I'm not shooting for guaranteed 700. I care more about if it's a 690 with best in slot perks, if I'm being honest with you. But if you want to see my personal build that I'm doing, that I'm going to be rocking in the game, definitely let me know. It's different than all my other themed builds I've posted on the channel. And thank you guys for the support recently. It does mean a lot. The channel has been growing at a very rapid pace, and you guys are just killing it with the New World content. And I do appreciate everyone on the server saying hi, all the fun 3v3 duels I'm having with everyone. It is really, really cool. But if you did enjoy today's video, it does mean a lot if you hit the like button down below, as it does spread out my New World content to more people in in the New World community. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss out on another video from me, guys. Stay safe, and I'll see you all later.